Hello folks, welcome back. I hope this is going to be a good video for you today, because I'm going to take a caliber that is known for larger game and to use a lighter bullet and to see if it's going to be very good for varmint hunting. Don't know that, but just like a pretty horse, you don't know until you throw a leg over it and find out if you can ride it, whether or not it's any good. That's why I'm going to have verification and practical experience and share that with you today. But before we get started, I'm shooting on private property that I have written permission on. You can see the high berms. There is no one here. The rifle is unloaded and won't be loaded until I'm ready to shoot. I own all my own equipment. I have no sponsors, and nothing that you see here is for sale to the public. So let's saddle up, folks, and get shooting. The target is set up at 100 yards. Okay, I hope you can see the target down there. This is my 308 Savage FCPK. It's a 24-inch barrel with an Oryx chassis and a 6x24x50 first focal plane scope. You want more information on this rifle, go back to my playlist. I have an extensive workup on this. It is very accurate with 150 and 165 grain bullets that I've loaded up, but I am trying these Predator varmint rounds by Federal with 110 grain VMAX. Now, according to the box, these are supposed to have a very high velocity of around 3,200 to 3,300 right out of the muzzle. Well, we're going to test that. I have the Crony on, but let's talk about that word trust. You know, people ask why I don't shoot more commercial rounds, why I reload. Well, it's basically pretty simple. There's about 4 phases to learning. First is faith. Somebody tells you something and you go ahead and accept that and move on. The next step is trust. You got a verified source that you can go back to, somebody or a mentor or something that you trust. And then the third phase actually is your own practical experience. Well, reloading or hand loading has all 3 of those phases. During that faith phase, we're kind of looking for information and accepting it and going to use that as a baseline. Well, that's what I'm doing here. I have faith and trust in Federal. They've forgot more about ammunition than I'll ever know. So if they put this in a commercial box and they sell it to the public, their reputation is on the line. So I will be testing whether or not these numbers on the box are valid, and we'll see. Okay, then I can turn it into my actual practical experience by using the numbers from the commercial as a baseline, and to see if I can improve it with my own hand loading, mated to my personal rifle. No 2 rifles are alike, all chambers are different, everything's different, and so hand loading allows us, that hand load, to find the more probable or best possible example that we can use. Okay, so I'll go down there, turn the camera on, no more BS, let's get to shooting, testing, you'll see the numbers. Okay, I have a question for you. Higher velocity, is that going to hit higher or lower based upon the bullseye of the target because of a faster velocity? Put that in the comment section down below. I already know the answer, but we're going to go ahead and let you see it. So, faster velocity, lighter bullet, based upon 150 grain, this is 110 grain, will it hit higher or lower on the target relative to the bullseye? Well, let's see. Here we go. 3380. So the box said 3300. That's pretty doggone close. Let's see if it groups. $34.11. Woo! Okay, here come some helicopters overhead. Let's just kind of watch them a moment. Okay, some military helicopters went over, and I knew that would change the sound on here. So you saw those first 3 shots. So let's go ahead and give it another round of 5. Let's see if there's any difference. But on those 3 shots, that average was 3385. Standard deviation of 23. Extreme spread 46. So that's not unusual, my experience with commercial ammunition. Okay, so let me go reset up the target. We'll shoot a group of 5. Okay, you saw that first 3. I set up another target right next to it. I'm going to shoot 5 shots to see what the accuracy is and to see if there's any difference related to the chronograph. But so far so good. When you do find a commercial load that works well for you, there may not be a reason to reload if you've got good accuracy. These numbers are extremely high. I'll have to run a ballistics calculator to find out what the drop is and the maximum point-blank range is for the type of varmints that I'll be shooting, anywhere between 100 to 300 yards. Okay, well let's take a look here with this 5. Here we go. Eyes on, ears in. Be the target on the right. Oop. Boy, that Savage action is really stiff. But it's a shooter. That's what I mean. I have to take my face off of the cheek because the action is so stiff that I can't stay on the target. I'm sure there's a technique, I'll have to learn it. Okay, well, let's take a look at the numbers. Average, 3362. SD, 22. Extreme spread, 59. Okay, those numbers are kind of high and not acceptable, but what about the accuracy? Numbers are all well and good, but if you can't hit what you're shooting at. So let's go ahead and take a look at that target and summarize. But basically, this commercial load made by Federal with 110 grain SST lives up to its reputation, and there may be no reason to hand load to improve upon this. Okay, let's go take a look. Okay folks, here's your targets. I'm pretty pleased with the Federal factory 110 grain VMAX. Stated velocity on the box is 3,300. Here's the first 3-shot group that I did. Cold bore, 1/2 inch. I'm pretty pleased with that. How many of you said it was going to go higher or lower? Well, my experience is at 100 yards, it's not much difference. With 150 grain, this was sighted in to be 1 inch high at 100 yards. So it's a little bit left, but it's pretty close to the same amount at 100 yards. Obviously, further out you go, that's going to vary even more based upon bullet weight. The second 5, 7/8 of an inch, that's a 5-shot group, not a 3-shot group, so probably just the diameter of the bullet is what made it a larger group. But that average was 3387, a higher SD of 32 than the previous 3, and a higher extreme spread of 59 as opposed to extreme spread of 46. Now I have to do a little bit of research to find out why there's such a large discrepancy in standard deviation and extreme spread. But I think I will probably hand load, not necessarily to increase the velocity, but to see if I can get these standard deviation and extreme spreads more in line for long range. You know, 200 yards out to 500 yards. The lower your standard deviation extreme spread is, the likelihood that you're going to be more consistent on your accuracy. Okay folks, well, I hope you enjoyed this. Is the 308 110 grain VMAX a viable Varmint cartridge? Well, yes it is, in terms of what you saw today. So please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up, will ya? And don't forget to subscribe. But no matter what, folks, thank you very much, and God bless you all, and pray for Ukraine.